Hello folks, this is Sula speaking. You're listening to another video for Teamfight Tactics. In this video we're going to be looking at a ranked game. This is one of my early ranked games here in Season 8. Everybody still has the silver borders, but that is a bit deceptive because it's early in the set. Most of these people were in either Diamond or High Platinum at the end of last season, so keep that in mind. As far as what we're going to be seeing in this game, we're going to be looking at a variation of a Soraka team comp. I'm going to call this the Sacrificial Offerings team composition, which is going to make more sense as the game goes on, but this is going to be a game about sacrificing team members to power up other members of your team, a little bit like the Dark Star and Mutant trait that was a reprint of Dark Star from some of the past sets. Anyway, so I haven't had a chance to play a ton of ranked games, but I've been trying to slip them in when I can. Those of you who are watching this channel, a number of you know that we've got a little baby, so that means less time available to play Teamfight Tactics. Basically what I've done is I've cut out most of the normal games that I've played, and so I'm either generally playing double up mode or I'm playing a ranked game. And when those two come into conflict, I pretty much always would prefer to play double up because the two-player mode is just more fun than the single-player mode. That said, I've done pretty well in the ranked games that I've actually played, which has not been a ton, although it'll be more by the time you watch this video because there's always a delay before these get posted to YouTube. I've done reasonably well. As I said, this was in silver, but I hadn't really played that many games, and the ones I had been playing have gone pretty well overall. They're not all top fours, but I've been holding my own, let's put it that way. And this is another game, of course, that went well. Otherwise, you wouldn't really have seen this posted to YouTube, because if this was like a 7th place game, I probably would not toss the footage up. So self-selecting to be sure. All right, well, let's talk about what's going on in this game so far. Not a whole lot developing thus far. I did get a nice big gold drop on the first minion round, so I just used that to buy up the board. And so far in this game, you know, I don't really have any particular direction. I've actually been able to buy all the champs on both the first and second minion round as a result of gold drops, which is pretty nice. So I'm not sure quite why the game was being that generous, but I'm certainly going to take that. One thing I do know is I'm going to have a spellcasting comp of some kind, because this was an offensive carousel for the initial minion round. I chose to take a rod out of the options there over a sword or a bow. Was not able to take my preferred start of going for a defensive item. Just wasn't an option for this particular round. But I have I started with a rod. I got another rod, and I also got a glove. So that's going to allow me to pick up a jeweled gauntlet right away, and then also toss a rod onto a unit. Out of the units I found thus far, Lux is probably the best person I can put these items on. Right now, I'm hoping that I can find an Annie or a Zoe. Either one would allow me to play Gadgettine. That's kind of what I'm hoping for right now, but I haven't found that so far. I'm looking at what other people are playing. Looks like a lot of people are going to be playing Mascot Reroll. Looks like quite a few people are heading in that direction. So this is the setup I've got so far. I don't love the setup that I have. I have all 1-star units, and I never really like playing through Lux as the primary damage dealer here in this set because her ult is just very inconsistent. Like, look what she does. She tosses it at Vayne in the backlines. Like, that's completely useless. Vayne is not going to die from that. If she had tossed it on the front lines, we might have actually been able to kill one of those units. Like, the Fiora might very well have died. But no, she chooses to throw, instead of hitting two units that my whole team is focusing, she just randomly tosses her ult at the back lines and does nothing. So that's pretty frustrating right there. Anyway, look at this. I've got multiple pairs, but I don't have any 2-stars. I do see that there's a Kai'Sa in the store, though. So I was like, you know what? I think I'd rather have Kai'Sa hold these items than Lux. She's going to be a better holder of these, even though Kai'Sa has none of her traits in play. Well, guess what? Lux had none of her traits in play either. No Star Guardian for either of them. No Recon here. No Spell Slinger for Lux. So I'm just making do with what I've got so far here. As I said, bought up a lot of units, but unfortunately wasn't able to 2-star anything. So I'm going to have to kind of play my way out of a start that is not terrible by any means, but was not quite what I was looking for. I will say that having Ludens, it will be really nice if I can find some units that make good use, that units that have low mana cost, units that are spellcasters. So I'm already kind of thinking of leaning towards Soraka if possible. Soraka or Zoe, either of those two, just because both of them work really well with Ludens because they have low mana costs, and that means they'll continue to get the splash damage from Ludens every time they cast. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and win that round, which feels pretty decent. And then, oh, look at this. I find a LeBlanc. As soon as I see that, I'm like, let's play LeBlanc as our carry for this point in time in the game. I've actually had a couple other games where this happened as well. And one other thing I can do is I can actually look to get, I could get admin trait in right now if I wanted to. Probably should look to do that, take out the Lulu and just play the Blitz instead and get admin trait in. I can also at least see what the admin trait is. I think in the end I don't end up doing that. I think that the logic was I wanted a little bit more in the way of damage. Like I did hit 2-star poppies. That gives me a little bit more frontline. And I've got Wukong up there for defender trait. But I think I was thinking that if LeBlanc is the only damage dealer, I might need a little bit more damage. Lulu does give me slightly more damage, although not a lot of it. This board looks like it's stronger than mine because they've got those mascot units. And they also had a 2-star Renekton, but look what happens. There's no damage here. As soon as the Renekton dies, none of these units deal any damage. So LeBlanc and Lulu should be able to power their way through this. LeBlanc just needs to get one more cast off. She actually has offensive itemization. So it looks like we've got this. Come on, Lulu. Boom. There we go. Also, a well-timed flip over into overtime. Remember, units take more damage in overtime. So sometimes if overtime flips right as your unit is casting, or vice versa, it can be either really good or really bad. So got to keep that in mind. All right, anyway, so I was able to win the win 2 rounds after losing the first round. Not bad. I wouldn't have minded taking a tier here because tier would be nice if I'm playing into Soraka. I would not make a Archangel staff with that. I would just sit on the tier, but I definitely need at least 1 tier and probably 2 tiers if possible for what I'm looking to play into. So I wouldn't have minded using my high carousel priority to get that. However, since it's gone, I will take a defensive item, and I get it on a 3 gold Cho'Gath. So that is not bad. And then look at this. Oh, now we're starting to high roll. I hit the 2-star Wukong, and then now I'm going to level and put in the Blitz. And what do we have here? Here are our admin options. Look at the middle one. On ally death, admins gain 18 ability power. The first one is not really that useful. Soraka's not going to need mana. I mean, it wouldn't be bad or anything, but it wouldn't be that amazing. And then the third one was on 40, when admin units hit 40% health, they gain additional ability power. That's not going to be terribly useful for backline champions either. But, that middle one, on allied death, admin units gain 18 ability power. So this is going to mean that my backline admin units, which are probably going to be the LeBlanc and the Soraka, that's my plan, to go into those units later on. As their teammates in front of them die, they will get additional ability power. So, as I said at the beginning of this video, this is basically the Dark Star trait come back from, I think that was set 3 that had Dark Star, and then a variation of it was in set 6 with the mutant trait. Like, as your allied units die, you gain stacking ability power. By the way, this fight is close. I really don't feel like I should win this fight because they had, 3 2-star units, and I just had, I think I just had the frontline 2-star, but LeBlanc's able to clutch it out. LeBlanc does quite a bit of damage, and why was LeBlanc doing so much damage? Well, remember that trait, as allied units die, admin units gain 18 ability power. By the end of that fight, everyone else on the board was dead, so that was 72 ability power. 18 times 4, 72. So 72 additional ability power on LeBlanc by the end of that fight. And she had the Jeweled Gauntlet so that her spell damage could crit. So that definitely made a bit of a difference there. So now I'm thinking, well, my goal is I'm going to look to play into Soraka here, make use of this admin trait, and try to stack up as many instances of allied units as possible so that when they die, they will feed ability power to the admin units. I was also thinking at the beginning of the game, maybe I go into Gadgettine. That's why Lulu has been on my board so long. But as of right now, I have not been hitting Annie and I have not been hitting Zoe. So that's a bit unfortunate. I'm also able to win that round, so I can now pick up Renekton as well. So, I mean, 2-star Renekton is always a good unit to play in the early game, even if he doesn't have any items. So, again, I'm just, holding pairs. I've got a pair of Blitzes. I've got a pair of Renektons. Just going to grab and hold these units, etc., and see what we end up hitting here. There's also a Yuumi here, so that might be a unit I want to play, so I'll look to go ahead and grab that. I want to grab these units as long as they don't cost me additional income towards the next income breakpoint. Still, the fact that I now have 2-star Poppy and 2-star Wukong definitely makes my board a lot stronger. Having those 2-star frontliners really, really, really helps. It makes a huge difference in terms of keeping your board alive. It's not a coincidence that I started winning these rounds as soon as I was able to get 2-star frontline in place. And also, once I had a better carry, once I had the itemization on LeBlanc instead of on Lux, who was a bad holder of early game items. All right, now the cloak, however, is not quite what I'm looking for. I was like, why couldn't that be a vest instead for Sunfire? The tier, however, is extremely good to see, because now I'm halfway to a blue buff, or it could also be a Spear of Shojin. Blue would be preferred for Soraka, but I can run Spear of Shojin if I have to. So that is a viable option as well. Anyway, this round's going to be a dead end. I don't see anything that I want. So what do? I'm going to go ahead and level and play another unit. That's because I'm on full win streak, or not full win streak. Did lose the first round, but I'm in good shape. And I'm going to use my Reforger that I have from that last minion round to see what I get. And it's a bow. Okay, so bows, not very useful in this comp. However, I have the belt. Now I can make a Zerat Portal. Zerat Portal is going to give me a little bit additional front line, which is kind of the weakness of my setup right now. And remember, it's going to pop a little minion out when Poppy dies. Remember my admin trait. When allied units die, admin units gain 18 additional ability power. So I don't know with absolute certainty that this works this way for the Zerat minions as well, but I'm going to assume that it does, because that's how Darkstar worked in set 3, and then when it came back as mutants in set 6. So I'm pretty sure that when the Zerat minion dies, it also feeds ability power. Now, if I get that wrong, someone can definitely tell me, but I believe that that's how it works in this. By the way, look how close this fight is. If I had not leveled to 6, I'm pretty sure I'd lose that fight, because I had the extra unit in and I had Brawler. All right, look what else we have here. So we're going to get a champion augment, and LeBlanc is one of them. It is the LeBlanc carry augment. Yeah, it's the LeBlanc carry augment. I went past that pretty fast on the pre-recorded footage. So let me go ahead and I'll find the official description, and I will read it here a little bit slower. Okay, this is aim assist. The LeBlanc carry augment. Gain a LeBlanc. For every 2 sigils fired by her ability, she fires an additional sigil at the lowest health enemy. So she basically fires an additional sigil at the lowest health enemy. Well, for every 2 she fires. She can fire more than that, depending on, I guess, how many units she is focusing. LeBlanc is kind of a reset-based champion. She fires, by default, well, she gets more sigils as she stars up as well. She gets 5 at 1 star, 6 at 2 star. And if the target dies, she fires an additional sigil. So basically, she's just going to be firing lots and lots and lots of sigils, especially if she kills the units in question. All right, so I was able to go ahead and toss in a Sona as well, because Sona puts in the Spellslinger trait and also gives me the Heart trait. What did I drop there in order to pick that up? It looks like I dropped, I think I dropped the Renekton in order to get that in. But I think that this is definitely going to make me stronger, give me a little bit more scaling up against this Jax, but he's not quite going to be able to finish this board off. So I'm feeling pretty good. I'm on a big win streak. I won 6 rounds in a row, and I'm hoping to continue to put pressure on the lobby. There we go. So now we have hit the 2-star Renekton. So it's like, how do we play this? We could just drop admin for the time being. And I'm going to go ahead and do that just because I want to play a 2-star Renekton. So I do lose admin trait. That means I am not going to be getting additional ability power as allies die. But I think this is actually the strongest board I can play right now. I've also just been grabbing Vi's because, you know, Vi's another Brawler. At this point in time, I was thinking I'm going to look towards playing 4 Brawler frontline because I think I want to play Blitz. A good chance I want to play Blitzcrank to have admin trait. Right now I need him because I haven't found Soraka yet. I don't want to play Camille on this board. I don't think this is a 4 admin game unless I can find +1 admin somewhere. And then look, there's a Lee Sin in the store. So I want to play the Renekton because I have 2-star Renekton. I want to play Blitz for admin trait. I'm going to want to play Lee Sin for Heart. And if I'm going to play all those units, I might as well play the Vi for 4 Brawler. So when you play a comp like this, when you play like a Soraka-based setup, oftentimes you would like to play into Annie. Annie plus like Alistar plus Echo can be really strong frontline, but I have seen 0 Annies the entire game, so clearly Annie is not going to be my frontline in this game. It's not going to be a Gadgettine frontline, it's not going to be an Oxforce frontline. Looks like it's going to have to be a Brawler frontline instead, so I think I actually prefer the Annie frontline instead, but you know, if you're not hitting it, then you gotta switch course and go with something that does make sense, and in this case, it looks like it's going to be Brawlers for the time being. And then I'll have to decide if I want to pivot out of that as the game goes on, because Brawlers are more of like an early and mid-game thing. They don't scale that great into the end game. Well, look what we've got here. There's a tier on the carousel. For that initial tier got snapped up right away, but this time the tier gets all the way through, and I'm going to be able to get it. And I was like, perfect. Now I've got a blue buff, and that's going to be great on a Soraka later on. So we're definitely looking to play into Soraka in this match. Now that we've got the blue, If we had a sword for Spear of Shojin, it would be a bit more of a question. But with this setup, it's really not much of a question at all. We definitely want Soraka. Got a good admin trait that's going to be useful. Got good itemization on her. And so, like I said, I'm looking to play 4 Brawler, 4 Heart is kind of what I'm thinking of right now. So the question is going to be, when do I dump the Poppy and when do I dump the Wukong? Because I am going to have to dump them eventually. They don't really fit this board. And that answer is when I can replace them with other frontliners that are 2-starred, probably. We'll just have to figure it out as we go along. For right now, though, I definitely still need them. All right, so LeBlanc has the blue buff. Blue is not bad on her. I believe her mana cost is like right at the breakpoint between where Spear of Shojin and blue are roughly equivalent. Her mana cost in this patch is 60. Yeah, and I believe that's like right where either one of these items is equally good. I think the blue might be very slightly better because she gets her first cast off faster, but it's pretty close between the two of them. Now, there is a Taliyah in this store, but I've already decided I want to play Soraka this game. I do not want to try to reconfigure my whole board to play into Taliyah. So that's me being a little bit greedy, but I'm going to go ahead and pass that up and not try to play the Taliyah in this game. I've already taken I guess I could play into it. I was going to say I already took a LeBlanc augment, but you can play LeBlanc with Taliyah just fine because they both have Spellslinger trait. So yeah, I mean, I'm just kind of cruising along here. I'm on a big win streak. I lost the first round of the game, and I've won every round since then. So I'm on an 8-match win streak. You saw me being very aggressive again, leveling to level 7 in the hopes of maintaining the win streak. So I really want to win this round so that I can, try to stay on full win streak. I wish I'd found one more LeBlanc because I'm on 2 out of 3. I have not picked up the other LeBlanc in the orb. I think I talked about this in another video, but I've deliberately not picked up the other orb. I know there's a LeBlanc in there, but it doesn't do anything for me until I can find another one in the store. So I'm holding it there because I have very slightly better shop odds to find LeBlanc in the store if I don't pick the orb up. And it also gives me a little bit more bench space too. So that's why I haven't grabbed that one, at least so far. But yeah, I was able to win that round. Again, I don't know if I win all those rounds without the early leveling. The first round of this stage, 3-1, was very close, and then that round 3-6 was also very close. So I think if I hadn't been leveling aggressively, I might very well have lost those rounds. Because I ended up winning those rounds, it was worthwhile. So that was like the risky play. I cut into my econ to level early in the hopes of playing more units and continuing a win streak. I felt comfortable doing that because I had hit so many of these units. Also, by the way, look, I'm going to find another LeBlanc here. I also find a 2-star Galio just from the orb, which is really bizarre. So since I found the LeBlanc, now I'll let that combine into the LeBlanc 2-star. So that's a big, big hit to hit the LeBlanc 2-star. She's actually quite strong with these items. Unfortunately, the other items are not quite what I'm looking for. I've got another cloak, and I've also got a bow. The bow in particular does not do anything for me, but these are kind of misses on items. I would have liked to have completed itemizing LeBlanc, who's going to be Soraka eventually. I would not have minded a sword to make a gunblade. I could have used a death cap. I guess I could have made, put a tier for Archangel Staff. Although I don't love Archangel Staff, I still would have made the item if I'd gotten a tier there. The bow, though, I can't really do a whole lot with. So now it's back to being like, can I get another belt so I can make another Zerat portal? That would not be bad because frontline is something I need. And remember, my admin trait, every time an ally dies, gain 18 ability power. So more minions to shove up in the front of the team would actually be quite good in this situation. So anyway, I'm just going to continue winning these rounds, and I want to get to 8, and I'm going to look to try to find Soraka on 8, but I feel pretty comfortable playing patiently here. If my board was weaker, I would probably have to roll, but I'm going to try to keep leveling and go from there. All right, now here we've got some interesting options. Jeweled Lotus would be great, except I already have a Jeweled Gauntlet, so there's no need to get that with me already having a Jeweled Gauntlet. I mean, it gives me extra crit chance, but it's not that great. And then, I'm going to re-roll this and look at this blue battery. Your units gain 8 ability power. And so the blue battery is... yeah, I went by it too fast. Let me go ahead and cover the blue battery. I'm going to look this up here. That is, what tier is that? That is a gold augment. And I'm going to see if I can find this. Should have had this queued up. I am not finding this one in the official cheat sheet. That's interesting. Look under battery. I can't seem to find this one. But basically what it does is it makes it so you gain additional mana after casting, or is it makes the cost of the spells a little bit cheaper? I can't remember what it does, but it's basically equivalent to, is similar to having a blue buff in that it means that if the mana cost on spells is cheaper, it ends up making them a little bit cheaper still. This fight is sad. I've been on the big win streak, but this person's playing Yuumi reroll, and the Yuumi with a blue buff gets a cast off that flies around and hits LeBlanc. And LeBlanc went down to like 1% health and then just died on the next cast. So that's unfortunate. At least that person had used up most of their gold in order to get up to that point. I do find a Sejuani in the store, so that's nice. That could be useful in getting up to 4 brawlers. And now I have to consider, do I want to look to start dumping some of these frontliners, or I could look to just level here. So I'll go ahead and level and toss the Sedge on my board, and then I'm going to dump the Lulu and replace with the Lee Sin. So there we go. There's 4 brawlers. And now we've made our board, and I'm going to look to eventually cut the Poppy and the Wukong and get up to 4 heart, or at least that's what I'm thinking at this point in time. So I'm feeling pretty good. I did lose that round, which is a bit unfortunate, but I think that I can manage to put this together and still be in good shape with this one. So we've got another round here. This person it looks like they're playing some kind of duelist Zed board, I think they're going for here. It's the Zed does have an Edge of Night, but it looks like we're able to get through him, and it looks like LeBlanc's on it, so able to win that round as well. All right, and okay. We are going to go to another carousel here. I was still trying to look up additional information on Blue Battery. I was really curious about if I could find info on this, but I haven't been able to get the actual stats on this one, unfortunately. So we'll just have to hold off on that. Unfortunate here. I should have looked this up before I cast it, and I went by it too quickly on the actual recording. Anyway, so I am last pick on the carousel. That's not surprising. I guess I should talk a little bit more about the theory of what I've been doing in this game. I've been trying to get to level 8 so I can look to find my key units and roll down there and take advantage of them. By the way, look at the mistake that the other players in the lobby have made. They've left a Syndra on this carousel. So do I want that? I definitely wanted that. That would have been great. I would have just played the Syndra. Would have just taken out one of these other units and played Syndra and gone to 4 heart. But does end up getting cut, so not going to be useful. But now we need to roll, and there's a Soraka. Note that I'm not going to play the Soraka. I'm not going to transfer the items over instantly from the LeBlanc. So we did go up to 4 heart, but LeBlanc is a 2-star, so I don't want to transfer these items just yet. And by the way, there is a Syndra. Okay, so we'll play that over Yuumi. We can just cut the Yuumis. Now we've got Syndra. That's a big, big hit. Now I've also got an Echo on the board. I should at least pick that up. That gives me an option to play another unit there. We've still got the 4 brawlers for right now. And now I need to put some of these items on these units. I ended up getting the Rod, so we'll just make a death cap here for my last item on what's going to be Soraka down the road. And I have to pick up a LeBlanc so that I have a replacement unit. So if I can find Soraka 2-star, these items will get transferred over. So all in all, that went pretty well. Hitting the Syndra is a big high roll, and it's nice to find the Soraka quickly. So at this point, I started thinking about my board. And I was increasingly thinking, and I was like, I'm not sure that I really need Blitzcrank in this board long term, because I already have 2 admin from the LeBlanc plus the Soraka. By the way, look at how close this fight is. And well, I guess Jax wins this one. Yeah, Jax stabilizes really hard in the mid game. Jax 2-star just really, really strong in the mid game. Does get outscaled late, but yeah, strong at that point in time. But anyway, I was starting to think, I was like, I don't know if I really need Blitzcrank. I still don't even have Blitzcrank 2-star. And I've hit this 2-star Zoe. I was like, can I get the Zoe on my board somehow? That would be really, really nice. Zack's also a possibility as well. There's also a Janna and a Nunu, but I don't see myself playing them. So I'm going to roll down. And then I hit the 2-star Soraka. So I was like, all right, well, trying to transfer over. That was the correct time to transfer over when I hit 2-star Soraka. So increasingly, I was like, I don't know that I need to play the Blitz, and if I don't need to play the Blitz, I don't know that I need to play 4 brawlers either. What if we look to drop down to 2 brawlers? We could play Sejuani, and we could play the Lee, and then we could cut Renekton and Blitzcrank, who are not really doing that much, and then we could play Zoe plus Echo, and that would put Prankster trait in play. Also give us a chance to maybe put Aegis trait in play down the road too. Anyway, though, now we have Soraka on the board, and it's like, oh my god, Soraka is doing so much damage. Wow, oh my god, Soraka just did 13,000 damage. Where in the world did that come from? Well, that is due to the combination of having 4 heart, which causes her ability power to go up every single time she casts, and having the admin trait in. Remember, as the rest of the team dies, she continues to get more ability power. So yeah, she is going to scale up quite a bit over the course of these fights. And yeah, I decided now I'm going to go ahead and make that replacement. So we're going to look to drop we can drop the Blitz. We don't need that unit. And then we can drop the Renekton, and we'll play the Zoe. And that's going to put Prankster trait in play. So my front line is a little bit on the weak side here, and I'm a little bit concerned about that. but this is going to put the prankster dummies in play. And if I can get another belt here for a second Zerat, I'll be feeling pretty solid here. So I also do have some questions about how some of these mechanics work. By the way, we're going to get a tier that's not quite what I'm looking for, but not terrible. And let's see, what else do we have? Oh, there's another belt. Okay, that is the item I wanted there. So now we can make another Zerat, and then we have the items for a Chalice. Excuse me, and LeBlanc is also going to come back to me again as well. So, all right, now we can make these items here. There's one Zerat portal. There's two Zerat portals. There we go. And we might as well make use of this Chalice by... we have the items for a Chalice, so let's make that as well. And I can put it on Syndra, because Syndra will give me... It'll give her... What's the tier? I think is 15 additional mana. And so it'll mean that she'll cast slightly faster. Or, yeah, I think it's 15 additional mana that you end up getting. There we go. So it'll cause her to cast a little bit sooner, and then we want to get some units for her to throw into the fight. And now we're going to look to go level 9. I know my front line is kind of sketchy, but I think that with a 2-star Soraka and with me having Syndra in here, I think that we can hold up long enough for my team to kill most of these units. Also, LeBlanc 2-star as well. And LeBlanc doesn't have any items, but she's going to be getting a ton of ability power, again, through that admin trait. Look at Soraka's crits. She's critting for so much damage. I saw like some 1300s and some 1400s coming out. Again, that's due to the admin trait and 4 heart. 4 heart, of course, means the AP goes up on every single spell cast. Let me go ahead and pull up the cheat sheet on my other screen here, just so I can see exactly how much. I think it's 7 AP per cast right now in this patch. Don't be surprised if that gets buffed, nerfed in some of the upcoming patches. Correct. Heart 4 is 7 ability power per cast. So that's anytime she casts, or who are my other heart units? I also have, well, Lee Sin, but he's not doing much. Sona actually casts reasonably fast. And then my last heart unit is, I'm not looking at my board here. My last heart unit is, the Syndra. Okay, well, Syndra doesn't cast very a lot either. So it's mostly just Soraka, but every time she casts, we are stacking up 7 additional ability power. And then in addition to that, every time an allied unit dies, the admin units, which is LeBlanc and Soraka, so not the rest of the team, but just the 2 of them, they're going to get more ability power as well. But the net result of all this is Soraka has absolutely stupid ability power. She at 396 right there. By the end of that fight, I'm glad I checked here. So she's doing 1,300 damage with her ability by the end of these fights. And she has the blue battery so that she casts even more often than she would with a normal blue buff. So yeah, that's pretty nutty. And so now I'm just going to look to go to level 9, and hopefully at level 9 I can 2-star these units and improve my front line. I do have decent odds to find 3-star Sedge and 3-star Echo at level 9, and then maybe I can throw in like a Leona as well. That wouldn't be bad because that would give me Aegis trait, give me a little more front line. Would also be good at punching through any super tanks that are on these other teams. There's a number of people who are playing some 3-star units, so Sedge would not be bad at that, or Leona would not be bad at punching through some of the super tanks on some of these other teams. But yeah, I don't really have much in the way of frontline. It's mostly just like cardboard cutouts and dummies that are over there. So it's just like I need the cardboard cutouts to hang up there on the front line just for like 10 seconds, and Soraka will kill everything if they can do that. That was a good example of that right there. I'm also not sure about the dummies that come out of Prankster trait. I don't know. I think the dummies from the Prankster trait might be giving me AP as well. The one reason why I'm thinking that is I know that the Darkstar trait in set 6, when people were running Mutant Darkstar, when they had that trait, I know that would provide additional AP when units died if you had the training dummies. So if this is coded the same way, and given how lazy the programming is in this game, it probably is coded the same way. I think the Prankster dummies are giving me AP as well. Anyway, so there was actually a Prankster emblem. I would have loved to have gotten that, because then that would get me up to Prankster 3, where the dummies actually stun. I would have just put it on Lee Sin, but sadly it gets taken. Also, the Aegis emblem gets taken too, so that's a little bit sad. And look, it actually combined into Sona 2-star. I was like, oh, I actually wanted to double up and put 2 chalices on the Syndra, but no, I'm actually not able to do that. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, 2-star Sona is not terrible. I guess we can live with that. I am trying to hold at least a couple units on my bench so Syndra can throw them onto the battlefield. The Urgot is not an amazing unit to throw on, but I mean, it's not terrible. And then the Vi's, I'm just kind of like, well, maybe we'll play Vi on level up. I mean, I guess that's a possibility. I'm also hoping maybe I can find one more Vi, and then I just have a Vi 2-star on my bench that can be thrown in, which feels like it would be pretty good. but it's a bit eclectic to be sure. I'm mostly just trying to econ here. I'm not expecting to win these rounds. I'm honestly a little bit surprised I have been winning these rounds because I opted to push to level 9 fairly early on, just as soon as I hit the 2-star Soraka. But we're kind of dumpstering everybody else in the lobby here. Like, these fights have not really been close. That person's going to be strong if they can hit the 3-star Jax, but they're still stuck on 7, and they're actually at 0 HP, or 0 gold right now, so they may be in some danger. They need to hit that Jax pretty badly. All right, there we get another Echo, so now we're on 2 out of 3 Echoes. Would really like to hit Echo and Sedge, but I still only have the one Sejuani. Again, we'll go level 9 after the minion round, and then we'll roll down. We'll figure out what legendary unit we hit. We actually could do reasonably well with quite a few legendaries here. Like, if I could hit 2-star Fiddlesticks, that would be awesome. That would give me additional crowd control. Fiddlesticks does benefit from the heart trait, so we get some extra ability power. I would not mind having Mordekaiser because he would be the magic resistant shred on the enemy team. I actually think that would be pretty good. I already mentioned Leona would give me more frontline and at least one rank of the Aegis trait. So all of those would be great. We'll just see what we hit basically and just play around what we hit. I also am hoping to hit Syndra 2-star as well. Now this person has Yuumi 3-star and a whole bunch of 3-star mascots. So I'm not expecting to win this round. I feel like this is one that I'm likely to lose. But yeah, Soraka continuing to do a lot of damage. Now, can we last long enough to finish off the Alistar and to finish off the Yuumi? It's pretty close, but yeah, we actually win that round. Jesus Christ, Soraka, she's doing so much damage. Once all those units die, her AP just gets up to like 400% or something obscene. And then as long as she's critting on her Jeweled Gauntlet, she's just absolutely blasting the enemy team. She did like another 13 or 14,000 damage. I'm just shocked that I was able to win streak all the way through stage 5 with my crummy front line. I feel like the other team should have been able to punish me more for this. Like, I should not have been win streaking all the way through, but I guess my setup's just stronger than I thought here. The 4 heart and then the admin with other units dying and sacrificing themselves for the team. Those Zarot portals and those prankster dummies are actually putting in an awful lot of work for my team. And they're just powering up Soraka. So it is kind of a one-threat comp. Most of my damage is tied up in Soraka. I kind of wish I had a secondary threat here, but maybe we'll be able to get another unit there. Oh, and I forgot Syndra. Syndra throws in units from the bench, so that's another option as well. All right, now we actually get Ornn items out of the, whatchamacallit, the anvil there. And I'm actually going to hit the 2-star Vi, so I'll hold that on my bench. And I find a Janna. I was like, actually, Janna's pretty good here. Going to give me Forecaster, Civilian, another rank of Spellslinger. That's actually not that bad. We hit 2-star Sejuani. I'll put the Zanya's Paradox on her. I've also found another Syndra. There's another Janna. Again, we're just looking here. More Echoes. There's a Fiddlesticks. I definitely should pick that up so I can have a Fiddles to throw in off the... Oh, I actually didn't pick that up. I should have grabbed that just so I had a Fiddles to throw in off the bench. I am going to find another Sejuani here, though. So I have some pretty good units to throw in. I would like to try to 2-star the Janna and 2-star the Syndra. They're actually not very good units to throw in at all. But, and what are we going to throw in? Oh, looks like we could throw in a Janna. As I said, not a good unit. We would have preferred a tanky unit of some kind. So other people have rolled down their boards and definitely gotten stronger here. This is another one of these Yuumi reroll boards. You may have noticed that like half the lobby is rerolling for like mascots. Super popular in this patch. I've opted to go for a different strategy and focus on leveling up my board and just trying to play more expensive units. I am finally going to take a loss there. I think it's because they had the Yuumi carry. Did they have Yuumi carry or Yuumi support? They had one of the Yuumi augments there. Just too many 3-stars. I couldn't get through them fast enough in that fight. That time I am going to pick up the Fiddlesticks. And now I'm rolling here, and I'm trying to see if I can hit these units again. Got a lot of units. There's the Janna, so I should try to pick that up. Let's sell something. There we go. Trying to consolidate my bench here. Again, trying to get rid of units I don't want to get thrown in. I also didn't have Janna positioned quite as well as I would have liked in that last fight. I wasn't really getting the Janna shield benefit. Now that Janna's 2-starred, I definitely want that. For this particular fight, for this particular game, she has the one that gives you a shield, which I believe is Sunny Weather. But I believe that's the one she has, so it's going to give those units an additional HP shield. By the way, this person has taken the Rocket Grab arm, so I do have to be careful of that. Soraka actually could have gotten grabbed that round. The good news is the Rocket Arm actually targeted the opposite corner, but that was kind of sloppy positioning for me, so I have to watch out, be careful of that. This person has a 3-star Jax, but like I'm just putting so many things in the way of Jax. Jax just cannot kill them all fast enough. before Soraka just powers up and kills everything. Just so much crud in the way of Jax. He's doing his best with that staff, but he just cannot cut through the... Oh, by the way, there we hit 2-star Syndra, so that's a biggie. That is feeling pretty good now. But like, I've got double Zerat minions. I've got the Zanya's Paradox, which makes Sejuani invulnerable for I think it's 2 seconds. I have the Prankster dummy on Echo, so Echo just leaves all kinds of garbage behind on the board. And then Syndra is 2-starred, and she's picking up units and throwing them in as well. So that just puts even more units on the board. And then when they die, Soraka gets more ability power as well. So as I said, this is just the sacrificial team comp. We're just throwing so much stuff at the other team. They just can't cut through everything fast enough before Soraka powers up with her gained ability power from heart and from admin trait, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then she's just critting for like 1,500 damage. By the way, Sejuani got off an absolutely amazing ult there that stunned like the entire enemy team. And Janna's Tornado. Beautiful CC coming in from the team. Very, very, very nice. Also note that we've already thrown in the Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks hasn't even gone off yet. There we go. And we were about to throw in the Vi as well. So yeah, my team is just powering through right now. And it looks like we're down to just the Jax board, which I'm pretty happy with because I know that I can beat the Jax board. All right, what do we have here? Well, there is actually some interesting stuff. There is an Aegis emblem. That's not bad. I could also take like a blue buff for Zoe, but I want to just grab or a heart emblem for Zoe as well. But I want to grab the Zephyr. The Zephyr is in part so they just don't use it against me, but the other teams is entirely based around this Jax. So if I can Zephyr the Jax, then that's just pretty much like it's over. So yeah, I'm going to look to grab that. And then here, I was like, you know what? I'm going to sell this Cho. I want either Fiddlesticks or the 2-star Vi or the Mordekaiser to get thrown in. This is the person who has the Racket Grab arm, so I have to make sure that my units are not going to get grabbed. So yeah, I want to make sure that Soraka does not get grabbed. I think the positioning is pretty good here. And then now I'm going to try to put Lee in a position to get the Zephyr on the Jax. And the Jax actually got moved to the center, so just Sedge hit it. No. Sejuani also misses their Sedge as well. So it's kind of a wasted Zephyr, unfortunately. By the way, Zanya's coming in amazing on Sejuani there. Allows her to tank that. We get the double Sejuani stuns on both sides. But again, Syndra has already thrown in the Fiddlesticks, and that's actually really helping me a lot. We get Janna's CC. We're going to get the Fiddlesticks CC going off any second now. There it goes. Syndra's now going to toss in a 2-star Vi. So even though this Jax is very, very strong, I just have so much CC. There's no way that this unit is ever going to kill me. So I still have like most of my team intact, and we're going to punch through there, finish this one off, and take a fairly easy first place game. I was happy with how I played. I definitely had some good luck. I hit the LeBlanc 2-star relatively easily. I had some amazing augments. Ludens plus blue battery was absolutely fantastic for the comp that I had. Really, really, really good stuff with this particular combination of augments. But I also felt like the lobby did not punish me hard enough. When I was playing greedy on Econ, they didn't really punish me for it. And that just meant it was easy to go 9, grab legendary units, and just kind of cruise to victory from there. So, hope you enjoyed watching this game. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Until next time, hope your week's going well. Take care, folks.